Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of the Brightest podcast. I'm your host, Gabe Clem. If this is your first time ever watching us, we are finding Christ through nerd culture. We will be having episodes up every Monday starting today. I know last week it was on a Saturday, but that was just because we were starting out. Now it's every Monday, so please tune in when you can. We have a very, very special topic today, but first, we need to do our Who Would Win question of the week. Last episode, it was on hero versus hero, Batman versus Superman. This week, I wanted to do something different and do villain versus villain. This also coincides with our topic. Today's question is who would win between the Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus, two of Spider-Man's greatest enemies. And now we should jump into our topic, which is Spider-Man No Way Home. Of course, there is a huge spoiler warning if you haven't seen it, but this movie is big. Still breaking records, and with its release on digital and Blu-ray, I wanted to cover it, give my opinion on it, and hopefully get you guys a message from it. I'm so excited about this. I hope you guys are too. Let's get started. So since 2008, the MCU has ruled comic book movies with over 27 films. That is incredible. But in my opinion, I honestly was starting to get worried that after Endgame, and let's be honest, after Infinity War, they started to lose their touch with their movies. Yes, they were coming out with great TV shows like WandaVision, Loki, and even The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But with the releases like Shang-Chi and The Eternals, they just weren't getting as great reviews as they did. This all changed with Tom Holland's third Spider-Man movie, though, and that is No Way Home. This movie is the first real time we experience the multiverse to its extent. The multiverse that has been hinted at since 2016's Doctor Strange. An amazing rogues gallery of villains. Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, and Alfred Molina's Dr. Octavius, Rai Ifans the Lizard, Jamie Foxx's Electro, and Thomas Hayden Church's Sandman. A sinister six, if you will. But wait a second. I just counted 5. That is our topic today, Spider-Man's greatest enemy in No Way Home. But before that, I would like to continue reviewing the movie because it's just amazing. Let's just say the secret's out. They brought back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield to be the supporting Spider-Man in this movie, and it was amazing. The interactions of the 3 Spider-Men were nothing like you've seen before in a superhero movie. Tiny interactions like Andrew and Tom finding out that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man doesn't need web shooters. It meant the world to us fans because we imagined what it would be like for these characters to interact with each other, and now we're seeing it on screen. And all those theories about if this is really going to happen, if they're coming back, the lies that have been told to us saying no they're not, and then this little hints of maybe they are. It was a huge payoff to see that this is really what happened. And in a lot of ways, this is more of a Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield movie than it is a Tom Holland film. Because you see kind of the closing of Tobey Maguire's story. Him and MJ are working things out, and he's still being Spider-Man, which is something that a lot of fans wondered about after Spider-Man 3. And then with Andrew Garfield, this was his redemption as Spider-Man, because for some odd reason, nobody liked him. In my opinion, he was one of the greatest Spider-Mans we ever had. I didn't see anything wrong with him, but of course fans are gonna nitpick about everything. That's what they do. Look at the Star Wars fandom, look at DC fans right now, and heck, I could rant about this for a while. Let's just get back into our topic of hand, and that is how great this Spider-Man movie is. Not just for the Spider-Man, but also for the other supporting actors. Like, for example, Zendaya as Michelle Jones aka MJ. And Ned Leeds, who was played by Jacob Batalon. It was just a great cast altogether. And it really made the movie so much better because of the chemistry between the actors. It wasn't a movie that had to be story driven. It could have had those little scenes where it was just conversation, and it made the movie so much better. Like the whole scene with them not taking down the villains, but them just planning how they're gonna do it. That has to be one of my favorite scenes because the conversations between characters. With Ned walking up to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and saying, "Hey, do you have a best friend?" And him replying, "Yeah, but he tried to kill me." And then Ned walking up to Tom's Spider-Man and saying, "Hey, I promise not to kill you." It was just a great interaction all around, and it made the movie so much better. It also set a standard for what's going to happen in Multiverse of Madness with Benedict Cumberbatch. But I think that's enough ranting about this amazing film, and it's time to get to the message. And like I said, there is a huge villain in this movie that not a lot of people even noticed, and that's Spider-Man himself. From the events of Far From Home, we see Spider-Man realizing there were consequences that came to his actions from being Spider-Man, not just in his vigilante life or his Avenger life, but in his life as Peter Parker. He can't be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and let it have no impact on who he is as a regular everyday person, because he's not a regular everyday person. His life of Spider-Man not only affects him but the people around him as well. Aunt May, MJ, Ned, even Happy, they're all affected because of what Spider-Man does. The big problem here is Spider-Man tried to run from his consequences and change his past, but it made things worse. It brought this destruction on New York City from the other universe's Spider-Man. And there's a big lesson to be learned here. And it's simply that you can't fix your mistakes of the past by trying to go backwards. You can only go forwards, and there's only one way to fix everything, and that's Christ. 2 Corinthians 5:17 says this: "Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things are passed away, and behold, all things are new." There will come a time where everything from your past will be rewritten for the good of God. But first, you have to take that step forward. You can't go and fix your mistakes of the past. Another great verse that talks about God wiping away our past is Psalms 103, verses 12 and 13. "As far as the east is from the west, so far has he removed our transgressions from us. As a father, he has compassion on his children, so the Lord has compassion on those who fear him." But how do you do this? That's the question we ask ourselves, and it answers this in Philippians 3:13. "Brothers, I do not consider that I have made it my own, but one thing I do, forgetting what lies behind and straining for what lies ahead." This is a great verse in my opinion, because the past, it's just that. It's the past, it's behind us, and we need to forget about it. Sure, things have happened, and sure, those things will follow us, but as soon as we realize that those things mean nothing to our future, then we can truly move forward. Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me." And if that is true, then no matter what happens, you can forget about the consequences of the present and think about what's going to happen in your future with God. And that is our purpose, to have that future with God, to sit here and not let ourselves be taken under by the enemy, but to live for God and spread his word, and to know that no matter what happens, he will always be here for us. No matter what we have to go through now because of our consequences, that he will be there. It doesn't matter if you can't change your past. It only matters what you do in the future. Just know there is always a way home with God. That is the message that I got from Spider-Man No Way Home. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And like I said, every Monday we will be back with a new episode of the Brightest podcast. Check us out on Facebook. Go to our blog on Blogger. We will be expanding from only talking about DC and doing more outlets of media like anime and stuff like that. Everybody have a great week, and God bless.